So we are now recording. Okay, so let's go ahead and start moving forward. Right in this area, we see that it's very light, right? But it's not white, right? So we take our HB pencil, and with very light circle motions, we're just going to bring in some value there, okay? And right now it doesn't look like I did much, but I promise you I did quite a bit from my angle. If you have a solid eraser, which I recommend you grab one, not just the kneaded eraser. Scooch my chair out. You're going to want to erase these lines right here that we don't need anymore. Okay. And the ones under his nose, because we're going to start moving to shading a lot of that. And I'm just going to go in really lightly and erase a little bit right here. Just so I have all of those light lines gone. And we no longer have like a grid on the side of the face. We're going to start shading. So once again with our HB pencil, we're just going to put in a little bit of light value here, and then we're going to move down to the nose. Now if you look at the nose, it's all still very light on the surface level, but around and underneath it's darker, right? So we're going to start with that, just really lightly circle motions, pulling value down. Notice once again, look how far back my hand is, okay? It's not way up here because this is not how we shade, right? We want to use the edge of our pencil. Gives us more surface area, has a cleaner look. And right now, once again, I'm just adding in a light layer over everything because we will go back and refine it later. And since you all insist on being right-handed, I have to flip everything I'm usually used to. So you're welcome.
I could write with my left hand.
But can you shade? There's a difference. That's true. You could try it.
What if I'm semi-ambidextrous?
I'm semi-ambidextrous as well, but I'm unconsciously semi-ambidextrous. So when I paint or when I draw, like I don't even think about it. I'll just pick it up with my right hand and start going. Like I don't even think about it until like someone points it out to me. Sometimes I'll do it with two paintbrushes. But I don't like intentionally do it. It's weird. Okay, so we have a light layer on there. So then we're going to start to go back over it and we're going to look to the side. On the side of his face, there's a little bit of shading that happens right here that's a little darker, right? And it kind of brings over to his eye. So I'm just going to start right there. I'm going to come in with the shape that I see first. And then I'm going to blend it out. Okay. Then from here, some of it kind of pulls down and through the cheek and to the side of his face. So I'm going to pull what I have already done. And I'm just going to go with one line over. Okay. Then we're going to come down here, repeat that, and just refine the cheeks. Always remember that we're working on a rounded object. Nothing here is flat. Our cheeks are not flat, okay? So when you're working with these shades, you don't want to ever add a fully straight line because our faces never have those sharp lines on the surface level. Okay, once I feel like I've got this space in, I then will move over to the curvature of the nose, okay? And again, if you have any pencil lines that are outlining the nose, you need to get rid of them. We don't want jack-o'-lanterns, okay? We want nice, smooth shading. So I'm going to come around the nose first on this side, and then I'm going to softly bring up a line, and then I'm just going to blend it. And notice I have not changed. I'm still using my HB. There's no reason to change yet if I don't need to. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. We will move over to the ear before we move down. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and just pull in some darker value for the nose, right in the nostril area. Okay, this point I am going to switch to my 6B just to darken underneath that nose. Dude, are you focusing?
Yeah.
Yeah, hurry. We're gonna fall behind. Okay, can we move below this line, or are we not there yet?
Not there yet.
Okay, I'll wait. Do I need to move? If I need to smush down, I will try. Yes. Yep.
For a lot of what we're doing right now. This is great for drawing, but when it comes to shading, because it's so hard, like the lead itself is so hard, you're gonna get a lot of like screeches when you're working with your pencil. But if you use the 2B, there's a lot more workability available with it, and you won't have that like scratchy feel. Overall, I think you're doing great. We're getting closer to the end product.
Okay, are we ready to move on? I'm gonna take that as yes because no one has said anything. Okay, we're gonna move down the face. Oh wait, no, I told you we're gonna go to the ear first. Ignore everything I just said. Okay, so right in this area on that ear, is it fairly white? Yeah, it's pretty white right on the edge, right? But over here there's still some value. So we're going to very lightly with our HB pencil, or a 2B if you have a 2B, add in just a hair of color, and then you're going to blend it outwards to where you don't have any lead on the outer edge. Okay? From there, look at the shapes that you see within the ear. This is the only shape we are focusing on. That almost like icicle teardrop shape. So we're going to come on the outer edge. Notice how I'm getting closer to, not here with my pencil, but I am moving closer to the front of it. And we're just going to very softly with circle motions fill in that space. And I'm going to bring a hard line down. but it doesn't go to the very edge of our ear, because our edge of our ear is right here. Okay, you want to leave just a sliver out on that edge. Okay, once you have the shape in, if you would like to, you can take your 6B and just on that top corner, pull in a triangle shape with value, and then you're going to fade it out. And that's all I'm doing with my 6B. How we doing?
So-and-so?
Okay. You need to be braver and go darker. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to tell you that, but we'll get there. Where is your reference?
It is somewhere within the vicinity.
You should immediately go grab one. Because you need your reference with you. Because the one that's up on the board might be skewed compared to what you have. Okay, are we ready to move on to the next part of the ear? Because I'm getting bored. Okay, so right in here, we have kind of like, if I was to draw a circle, you would see a circle around this value. So I have put in an indication where it needs to go. I'm going to start in the center. We're going to go a little dark, so we'll have a little bit of pressure there. And then as we come outward, we're going to lighten the pressure. So you just created a sphere shape with value. Okay. It also comes down, so this whole shape is 1, but we're going with very light indications of these shapes. So we're just going to come in through here. Give it a little value on that edge. And then as I come closer, I'm just going to lighten my pressure with circle motions and bring it full circle. Come in. An extra copy of the Mineral Lab? If she can send it to me. I just need to know. Do you know where the extra copies lab are? I'll let you know when she answers. Okay. Real quick though, let's look at the ear. Right here we added value, right? Right. We need to do the same thing within the ear. We're going to leave one little highlight down here. The rest of it's going to be basically covered in value. So we're going to go very, very lightly over top of the space. And if you go too dark, how do we fix it? Yep, you pull your kneaded eraser out and you just stamp it, right? We don't rub, we just stamp it.
Why don't we rub it?
Because if you rub it, you're going to start to push that graphite into the paper and you won't be able to pull it out as easily. Which is another reason why I don't really love stumps, because you're just rubbing the graphite into the paper and it's almost impossible to get it out if you rub too hard. Okay, now that we have this portion of our ear complete, we're going to come down, and this line needs to be more predominant, so I'm just going to come in with a little bit of value here and pulling it to the side of the head. And then the last part is super simple, just making all that bottom area nice and light. Now that I have seen how similar these values are, Okay? They're very different than this side of the face. So this gives me time to go back and refine and darken the side of his face. Because we don't want it to look exactly like the ear, because it's clearly not exactly like the ear. So all I did was go in there and give it a little bit deeper value against the ear, just to make sure that the ear and the side of the face do not combine. And just so that everyone knows, if you feel confident that you can move on without me, please do. Don't feel like you have to be strapped on and go step by step with me. If you feel confident and you like what you're doing and you want to move on without us, you are more than welcome to do so. Okay, let's start moving down the face. Oh, let's do some erasing first. Okay, don't want any smudges. Okay, so as we move down the face, we want to make sure that we're focusing on this shadow right here, okay? The first thing that we usually do with the face, period, though, is we give it an overlay of a really nice light layer of value, right? So that's what we're going to try to work on right now. We're just going to go in and give the whole face with circle motions, just a lot of really nice value. Try to blend the sections together, because we will be going over top of this with darker layers. Please be mindful that when you're shading, we don't want to see shading like this. Okay, there's a very big difference between this kind of shading and this kind of shading. It is more tedious, but it's cleaner. It doesn't have as many drastic changes. Make sure you're going slow and in circle motions. And if you are shading like this, that's a no-no, right? We want to be almost all the way to the edge of our pencil. I know it sounds tedious, it might sound kind of annoying, but I promise you, it pays off in the end. Okay, can we start moving on into the shapes, or do you need a little bit more time shading? Okay, that's fine. Nice clean shading, good job.
Thank you.
Come on, we need you to get down here.
I'm going as fast as my ability will allow.
Okay, so section by section is the best way to tackle this. And I know that you're like freaking out because you want it to be perfect. But again, you will have time to go back and refine. But if you fall behind, it's not fun.
And then I had to erase a bunch because it got random.
Okay.
It's kind of nice to do it like this. You just go like that.
Okay. however works for you. Everybody has their own technique. That's fine. I'm just teaching you my technique. Okay. I think we might be ready to move on. What about the rest of the class? Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready to move on then. Okay. So we're going to go ahead right now and focus only on this shape. We're going to get into the lips, but I know some of you are probably a little nervous about that, so we're going to just focus on making sure we have all these shapes in first before we move on to the lips.
Are we going to do this after the lips? That little
This guy?
crease, little crevice?
That, we're putting that in now.
Okay.
Well, within the next few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have this shape that's coming down here. We need to make sure that it loops and then comes down, right? So with our pencil, we're going to start with just creating that line that we know is going to come up like so, okay? Now right now it might look like a hard edge and that's fine, but we're putting it in as a placeholder. From here, okay, there's a line that will come outward to connect to this. So if you look right here where we've curved, once we get to there, then we have our smile line. Okay. And again, have I put any like solid lines in yet? No, it's all just shading right now. It's all stuff we can move and fix while we're shading. So with that in, I'm going to go ahead and start working on blending that in so it's no longer a hard line. Having them slightly connected, softening some of these edges up, and then we start to bring in the darker shades downward. Don't go all the way to the edge of the chin though. Look what happens right here. What is this little spot right here? It's like a little highlight, right? Just a tiny one. So we need to make sure that we avoid that. Now for me, I drew so many lines right there that I need to go ahead and clean it up before I start shading. If you feel like you need to do that too, you are welcome to do so. So I've cleaned it up. I'm now going to come in and go slightly around that highlight. And then we're just going to go ahead and blend everything together. Okay, I have this line in, so I'm going to go ahead now. I know where it is. I know what it looks like. I'm going to come in with my, again, we're still with our HB. And just pull in a smile line. Mine's a little thick at the top, so I'm just going to come in, curve that out. Bring in some value over top of it. And then right on the interior side of it, I'm going to add another small line because if you see we have one here and then we have one right in there. It's very subtle, which is why I'm keeping mine extremely light. And I'm going to stop right there and let you guys catch up. Notice though, while I'm waiting before moving on, I am going back in and I'm just very subtly touching up some of these spaces that I feel need a little bit more attention. We always blow through this glass. I'm always shocked. Okay. Can we move on to the lips, or do you need a lot more time?
More time, please?
Okay, we'll go a little bit more time. How are we doing? Are we doing okay? Yes, no? Maybe. Shading is one of the hardest parts, so good on you guys. This is not easy. Trust me. Are we close to being able to move on?
Yeah.
Christensen's not the only one in this class, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Are we close to being able to move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the lips. Now, we can start with going dark and pulling upwards like we did with almost everything with the eyes. Okay. Or we can draw a very small indication line here and work off of that. What would you guys prefer to do?
Indication.
So let's kind of go a balance with that. We're going to zoom in here. And it sounds like we kind of want both. So I'm going to try to do a halfway for you. Is that too bright? Can you guys see that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
It looks really bright on my screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with very small lines. Now, I am basing this just off of what I am looking at. If you feel the need to measure, you all should know now how to do that, right? You take that space that you want and you try to compare it to something. And once you have that comparison, then you can bring it over to your paper, okay? If you don't want to do that method, that's fine. You can simply eyeball it like I am doing. But if you feel more comfortable doing it your way, you are welcome to do so. So if you notice, I put the tiniest bits of lines at the Cupid's bow, and then I rounded it out, and then I put one down here and pulled it upwards. The smallest indication, something that I know I can easily shade over without there being a hard line, okay? From here, I would say let's move on to our 4B. Okay, because we know the 4B can go much darker. And you're going to want to start at the line. And with your circle motions, we're going to pull in a little bit of a caterpillar So a little thicker. And then we're going to simply, with lighter pressure, pull upwards. If you feel you do not have the control yet to do this without abrupt changes, you should go back to your HB pencil. Also, if you have a 2B pencil, this would work just fine as well. So we're just putting in a little caterpillar and then very lightly pulling up that value. Okay. There is a slight indication here on his upper lip. So I'm just going to put in the smallest amount of a line. Okay. Smallest amount. If I feel I need to do it again, I'm going to go in with my HB. If you need to sharpen your pencil, please, please do. Do not feel like you can't. Go back in with my HB and just refine. Yeah. The wire, it's in the back. So if you go in and you go further back on the right, take a right and it should be up on the third shelf. It's in a white bin. Now if you notice, there are lines within his lips. They're very small, so I'm just going to go in with some small indications with my darker pencil, creating that texture. And before I am finished, I'm going to go back over that line with my 6B so that it's nice and dark. That's just the top lip. We're going to do the same for the bottom lip, but it is much lighter, right? So I'm going to stick with my HB, and I'm going to actually start my line down here. I'm going to curve on the sides, and I'm going to come in on this side because that bottom lip is much lighter. Shoo shoo. And we're just going to pop in a little bit of texture here and there, hugging that bottom line. Okay. I'm not going to move on from here because I feel like I went a little too fast. So I'm going to stop right here. What?
I need help.
Okay. Okay. His lip comes to a point. You see how yours bows over?
I don't think I did this one. I looked too.
Well, we weren't doing this side yet. So we're going to just focus here. I would pull it down. Yep. And then where's your 6 feet? I don't elongate this. I feel like it's too pointy. And then you see how it comes down, but then it lifts up. Does that feel a little better? Shape-wise.
But is that enough filler? Or is it?
So then you take your shading. I think that this is fine. I think the bottom lip, I would come in a little bit more harshly on that edge.
Okay.
But I think what you're worried, I think what you need to come in do is like lighten up right here. Just like right in the center. And then blend it. Who was that?
Looking for computers.
Oh. Did you guys tell him no?
No, we just
He left before I say anything.
Oh. Okay. How we doing?
Not great.
Nah.
Nope. Nope.
No?
we just
What's
like
wrong?
take 'em.
I don't know.
Dude, we gotta get through this. This is gonna at least take us a whole nother week to do. So we can't take no breaks. Sorry.
Time.
Okay, you're doing great. You just need to blend it. You have a really hard line.
No.
This is taking us 4 hours.
softer, take it from that line and pull up. Heavy pressure, and then as you come up, you lighten your pressure. So,
But the wrist is first.
so heavy pressure, right? It's a fade factor. That's all you're doing. You're fading. Looks like you're mentally fading too. Are you okay?
No.
I think that's the whole thing though, is like you just need to focus on finding those like shading spots that like are darker or lighter, so like right in here. All of this stuff. Like you have a really nice one shade. But we don't have like the darks that pull into lights that fade in and softenly round the face. You'll get there. Keep going, you're doing great. I know that this sounds like I'm just repeating myself, but I promise you, as you continue, you'll see your progress.
Is that better?
Much better. Much, much better.
Is it still light?
Yeah. Hmm.
Figured it out. So when I go like this, I can see the white glue and then the shading. I figured it out.
Good for you. Okay, we're moving on to the top lip. We just got to get where his mustache would be. Okay? Would be. Okay? So right up here, we know there's a highlight sitting right over the lip, right?
Yeah.
So that means that we can't start shading on the lip line. We have to go up a little bit. And if you notice, we already put in that indication on the side. So we're actually going to use that as our anchor. Okay? And we're going to start pulling value from that side of his face. But we are leaving a line just above his lip. Like so. Okay, now I know that looks harsh right now, but that's because I haven't blended it in. So we need to make sure we're darker over here. It does actually connect to the lip. So we come in, get that shape in, clean this up, and then we'll start moving it over. And then it connects to the nose. And then from here, we can actually go under our nose and really refine some of these shapes as well. Because we had them in before, but now we can get in and really start to work with the darker values that are underneath the nose. And it looks like I've almost lost the outer edge of his nose, so I'm just going to come back in and dab that out so I can refine it. There it is. Notice I'm doing all of this with just my HB pencil. Once I have that in, before I can move on, I really want to come in and just make sure that the shapes are all correct before we move on to the bottom. I think I'm going to bring this top line a little bit further down. And I'm going to come in really close right here and just add in a little divot for his lip. And then if you want me to move on, we could probably get the chin in before the end of class, but I'll give you guys a few minutes. Yes?
Well, because you smushed his lips so tiny. Look how small they are here, and look how big they are here. Okay. If I were you, I would pull that lip out. It needs to be almost all the way out here. It doesn't need that big.
be. Make it bigger. If his eyes are that big, his mouth has to be bigger. I like the texture. Looks cool. So the last little bit is like what we've been working on the whole time. You want to find these shapes. It is still connected to our little line that we've already put here. But we see this shape right underneath the lip, right? And then there's this nice highlight on his chin. So we're just going to recreate that. I'm starting right underneath the lip. Pulling that down. And then connecting it. Okay? And then from there we're just going to shape it and refine it. Might look like I've lost the highlight, but I know where it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to take my eraser, lighten it up a little bit, and then fix the shape, and I have my highlight back. Notice underneath the chin though, so like this whole line of the chin, look how much darker it is. On a scale of 1 to 9, what would that be?
7B.
On a scale of 1 value being white to 9, what is this line right here? That line would be a 9. Okay, the darkest you can go. So what pencil would we use?
7B.
Whatever our darkest would be, which right here for me is a 6B. So I'm going to take my line. So I have the line in, and then really lightly I'm just going to blend it, because I don't want it to be too hard of an edge. His chin is fairly dark right on the edge here, so we're going to pull in some value. Just give it a soft indication of how dark it's going to be on the opposite side. Okay, from here, I think I'm going to stop. And for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to come around and check your guys' drawings. I like the shapes you created on his face. See? Don't use your finger. Okay, the only thing I would say is we need to really focus on is right in here. Okay? Just shape it. I really love this. I think the lips look fine. You're just lost this guy.
No, I'm just
That
gonna
is
say- Don't need my phone's face.
Okay, so okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna get in that line. Okay,
Don't.
we really want this line to be clearly defined, because that's gonna help us figure out where the rest of our stuff is. So we have this line in. Okay. In order to create the value you're looking for, take it from the line and then curve it out. Okay, and then on the top part of the line, you see how much of his upper lip has value right on that line? Do you
same thing. Open your line and pull up. Very expressive shading. Oh, I like that. The textures are fun. Okay, I think the only thing you need to focus on is finding all of where your darks need to be. So we got this line right here on the line, or the lip line. Definitely go darker there, okay? And then getting these shapes in, because you have them in, just now refine them. That'll help shape his face, but it's looking really good.
There we go.
You are gonna need to work on that. That looks good. Ooh, yours is like butter. I love it. Good. Really good. The only thing I would say right now is don't use the highlight on this tip. Try. Sure. Okay, it's looking better. I still think we could go darker right here. The lip looks way better.
Kind of has like a stubble.
Yes. Okay, I think you have the opposite problem of everybody else in here. We're going too dark. So let's compare. Right here. Right here. Oh, little lighter. Little lighter. This is looking good. Yours is like butter too. Nice. Okay, so this all looks fabulous. I see where the shapes are. So let's go a little darker. Ooh. You have a very unique, like very illustrative style. It's really cool. I think you need to soften a lot of your lines. Yeah, because you have them all in. So like right here we have a really hard edge. You come in and just kind of soften it forward. I think it will look a little less like hard liney. And then you just need to start shading it forward. Yeah, that looks good. You have the same issue. Right here, I can see a very distinct line. You can see that line on his face. Okay, so we're gonna take that line and we're gonna pull forward and just blend it together. How's my back row? My kids look super thrilled about life. What's wrong? Where's your freaking drawing? You've been sitting here this whole class period without a drawing? You should have at least worked on your sketches. I know, but you could do that here with scratch paper. This looks really nice. I like the buttery soft feel you have. The only critique I would give you is his eye that like notch, right? You got way darker. Ooh, that looks so good. Ooh, you guys are doing so good. I'm so impressed.
And if you sew it's from my hand.
Oh, well, I'm having it low. I have that
No, I'm saying it's still going to be too low. Like, you might have to kind of offset this guy. No, we're going to, so this level is the one that's going to be closest to there. Because, like, dude, I can't have anybody around this. It's going to fall apart so fast. It's amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's so low. So I'm thinking we're going to have to cut it, like, we're going to have this.
Give me your emails.
Did you have a plan for this?
Yeah, I was having a spiral. I was starting from the world. And now I'm going to start working out down here. I'm going to start there.
What if we, wait, you want the spiral, so are you going to have this start?
Yeah,
So you're just creating a spiral and then you're going to cut sections of it off and like bring it upwards or?
I was just going to have the spiral going all the way up. Because I'm getting toward in here, and I was going to start putting more art here and all the way up.
Okay, I would say let's stop at when you get here. You already have so much going on. I don't think we need to. And I don't know if we'll have time. Yeah, so I say let's cut it off right here. Oh, I'm. That would be amazing, but we're not going there because that would be long. Okay, how we feeling? Yeah. Okay, well, before we leave, we have 3 minutes left. If I were you, let's go ahead and jumpstart. We know how to shade the side of his head. It's just going to be mostly black, right? So I'm going to go ahead right now, and I'm going to pull that value upwards. In order for it to counteract with his head, it's very simple. You're going to take your value, and you're going to curve forward in strands. You see that? So you're just curving inward in strands.
Is that what your darkest color?
Yes, you're using your 6B. You're pulling just strands inward. Okay. And then you're simply using your 6B to pull value upward. We're not hitting the curl yet. We don't have the confidence level for that yet. I am going light on this far side because I'm going to come inward with sporadic textures to add highlight. Yes.
Is this line that you're doing right now, is this too small? Is mine too small?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. Are you just doing curvy lines?
Yep, and that's it. That's all you do.
And you want us to press it?
So did you circle it while going up?
Yep. You're just curving forward.